Hello there, welcome to another episode. This lesson is for JavaScript intermediate developers. After taking this course, you should be able to develop interactive websites. Today's topic is called JavaScript URL GET query. PHP makes getting information from a URL address much simpler through the use of the array $get method. In this episode, we shall create a function similar to that of PHP $get method to retrieve queries from the URL of the browser. And when I talk about query, I simply mean something similar to that of that. So firstly, we are going to get rid of the PHP and we are going to reduce this font size to something that is accommodating to our eyes. So the first thing that we are going to do here is to create a function and we'll call the name of this function $get, and we'll be passing some arguments to this function. So let's just call that parameters. Later, by the end of the day, we are going to return some values out of this function. So let's just easily put that also. So to get access to the URL in JavaScript, we use the location or put simpler, we use the windows.location.search. So I'm just going to alert this particular thing to see what we are actually working with. So alert window.location.search. Control S that and run that in your browser, and you will see a question mark, query 12345, and info equals to prologue. So that is what we should be working with. So using the window.location.search, we can easily get access to our URL queries. So for that, we'll just name a variable and call it URL. So firstly, we want to check if there's a question mark associated with that particular URL. If there's a question mark, it simply means that there is query. So if URL dot index of is just used to check if it exists. Index of the question mark not equal to -1, it simply means that we are checking if question mark exists. If the question mark exists, then we can do whatever we want because we'll need some queries. So the first thing that I want to do is to remove the question mark, is to get rid of it because we don't actually need it again. So we'll just get rid of it and by using a method in JavaScript that is known as replace. So we are replacing this question mark, that is, we are getting rid of it with nothing. So we just comment this, get rid of question mark. So after we have gotten rid of it, the next thing that we want to do is to split this particular method to an array. This particular variable, we want to split it to an array so that we can easily iterate it. So in every query method, there is something that is similar, and that particular thing is known as AND. So we just split this particular variable based on AND. So when we split a particular variable like this, we have turned it to an array. So we can iterate through this array using the for loop. So for variable I to be equal to 0, I can or will or should be less than the length of the array, and I got to iterate with a plus plus. So when I iterate with a plus plus, the first thing I want to get is this argument and this value. So the argument there, we shall just call that query. So variable query, that is, I'm talking about we getting access to this query or this information, this info. So query, we are going to split that also into an array. So a arrow arrow I splitting an array into an array dot split based on equal to. So when we split this based on equal to, we can have access to the query. So variable argument will be equal to a arrow arrow I. So this is where we actually got access to our argument. So it's going to be based on our query, and this particular query that we'll be getting access to will be the first value. Then for variable value, it's going to be query 1. Very, very simple. So after we have gotten that, we need to check if our params is equal to our argument. If our params is equal to our argument, then we will just return this value. So let's just copy that and put it there. So later, by the end of the day, we are going to return the value. Return that value. So there we go. We have just succeeded in creating a get variable or a get method. So how do we use this? We can easily call it as variable. Let's just call it anything. Ish is equals to dollars get. What is the params that we are getting? The first one, let's just get info. Let's see if we can get the value of info. So we'll just alert ish. Control S that and run that in your browser. Okay, nothing. Let's check if there's any error. Okay, I'm just trying to find. Okay, let's remove that first, and let's check this out in our browser. Nothing. Okay, what other error again? Oh, yeah, an equal to. We did not put an equal to there. Control S that, and this time let's run it in our browser. Yeah, we have gotten the value of Prolog. So if we decide to add another information, let's just say, and Z is equal to beware, yeah, of goats, GOATS, that cause trouble. Then we press our enter key to save it. So now we are still echoing Prolog because we have not gotten access to our Z. So let's just get access to the Z here. Change this to Z. Control S there. Go back to your browser. Run it. And we have beware of goats that cause trouble. So we end this episode here. I will continue with another episode. Goodbye and remain safe.